Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Heck yeah, it is. Let's do it. Happy Monday, February 1st. 18 days of greatness straight ahead. What's in 18 days, Jake?
Your birthday.
No, somebody else will have subscribed to the Monty Show on YouTube. That's what you should do right now. Just get to themontyshow.com. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Really appreciate it. You guys are growing the channel with us. And again, we have a relatively new channel here on YouTube. Thanks for following. This is our final week on Periscope. So if you were watching the show on Periscope, you got to get to YouTube. You got to search The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you want to podcast, anytime you want to catch our sexy selves. Probably too much, it's awkward, considering mostly dudes listening to the show. But the point is, you should just search The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams. How about this deal over the weekend? And it's definitely one that we need to get into because this is a big deal. I think this is game-changing in the NFL, and there are so many questions about why the Rams gave up on Jared Goff. And I have been more critical of Goff than most. I don't see Jared Goff as a guy who's ever going to lead a team to a Super Bowl. I just don't think he has that mental ability. Obviously, physically, it's there. We've seen it. We just haven't seen it consistently. So, Jake, I guess the tough question that has to be asked, is Matthew Stafford a better fit for the Rams than Jared Goff was? And is Jared Goff now officially a bust?
Yeah, well, I think for Matthew Stafford, I mean, he's a veteran. He's somebody that has shown that he's got the ability. There's no doubt. I think a lot of questions around Matthew Stafford were just simply, is he ever going to get out of Detroit? Is he ever going to get the chance to play for somebody who can actually, go out and be a postseason team and contend? And so I think if you're Stafford, you should be thrilled with this. I mean, this is the best thing that could have happened to you. You just went from an awful division to one of the best divisions in all of football. So I think it's awesome for him. I think for Jared Goff, this is a really interesting time because I don't think this is some indictment on Jared Goff. I think it's more of a
really?
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of a situation where Jared Goff, he has something to prove for sure. But I think most people would tell you that he is a solid quarterback. Like he can play. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not good enough for what the Rams wanted, I guess.
I don't think he's a championship caliber quarterback. I don't think Jared Goff is a guy that you say, well, hey, I want to win a Super Bowl. Let me go trade for Jared Goff. That's not who that guy is now or in the past. I think he showed it with the Rams. Let's not kid ourselves. You had Gurley and Goff, a myriad of quality receivers. You had one of the best defenses in the National Football League during his time there, and they just did not win. Mm-hmm. Is that 100% on Goff? No, of course not. And we need to talk about Sean McVay in a minute here, but at some point you have to give the Rams credit for looking at their situation and saying, Jared Goff is not what we need, and we don't feel like he's going to win a Super Bowl. We need to go get a guy who can. And I actually think Matthew Stafford is that guy. He's got that swag. He's got a hot-ass wife for L.A. Like, it all fits together nicely.
Right. Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing for Stafford going to the Rams.
Are you saying that his wife isn't hot?
I'm saying that it doesn't matter if his wife is hot.
Oh, yeah, it does.
I'm saying that we're talking football here. So, for Stafford, I think at the end of the day, he's durable. He's shown that he can play through injuries. And he's got a cannon, and I think he's going to bring a veteran leadership to that huddle that they really need. That they really need that. And I also think, to your point, it's awesome to see another team besides the Patriots being cutthroat with some of their star players that they're paying a lot of money. And I think this is something that every franchise in all of sports could learn from. Before you go and pay guys, before you go and invest huge money in people, whether it is a guy coming off a rookie deal or whatever, whatever the situation is, you better make sure that they're performing. You better make sure that they're pulling their weight for how much you're paying them. And yeah, for how much he was getting paid, I mean, he was in the 20s, so it's not like he had some ridiculous contract, but that's a lot of money for the Rams when they have a big-time defense and they got people they got to pay. So I give him credit for cutting ties.
Well, and I also think you have to be critical of Sean McVay here. I think it's very easy to put all of this on Jared Goff. I think it's very easy to say, well, Todd Gurley was part of the problem. I think part of the problem and part of the reason that the Rams have not won a Super Bowl at this point in Los Angeles is because of Sean McVay. I think that he's made some bad personnel decisions. I think they've had some very questionable situations. Play calling, clock management. I think certainly if Nickel Roby-Coleman doesn't commit that pass interference against the Saints, pick that ball off, and they go to the Super Bowl because of it, there are a lot more questions being asked in LA of Sean McVay. But he went to a Super Bowl, and he lost. Okay, cool, at least he was in the Super Bowl, is what most people will say.
And who he lost to.
Well, yeah, but no doubt about that. No doubt about the Patriots have part of that. But I think it's a situation where you have to look at, or did he lose to the Chiefs?
No, Patriots.
Okay. My point is, you have to look at Sean McVay and you have to ask yourself, is he good enough? Is he doing a good enough job in LA? Mm-hmm. And I don't think the rubber stamp should be put out there I don't think it should be put out there for Sean McVay. I struggle with this idea that Sean McVay is this genius that everybody looks at and is like, oh, he's beyond reproach. Because I'm telling you that he cannot. And he cannot be, because if he is, the LA Rams will not win. I don't care who their quarterback is. Right. Sean McVay has to be a better head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's easy to blame Gurley and Goff and other people who aren't here anymore for the failures of the team. But at the end of the day, Sean McVay is the head coach and it's his team. And whether we want to admit it or not, Sean McVay and generally speaking, head coaches and GMs make decisions together. And a lot of the time, the head coach has a significant say in those decisions. And so, Sean McVay moved on from Gurley. He was tired of that situation. He's moving on from Goff. And the way he's moving on from Goff, I like. If you're not happy with who you got, don't just cut him. Do something with him. Get something back. And so that's what they did. They also reached out to the Packers about Aaron Rodgers. The Packers said no. Of course, they said they're not even open to talking about Aaron Rodgers, but that just shows you the ballsiness, if you will, of this of Sean McVay and his front office. They want a guy who has shown that he can do it in the league, who's shown he can play through injury, and that's what they got. And I do think it will make a difference for them. Overall, will they be a better team with Stafford than Goff? Well, that remains to be seen. When's the last time Stafford played in a postseason game? When's the last time he played a big game of football? I don't know, because he's been in a crappy division for 10 years.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting the way this trade came together. Stafford was not there was certainly, I don't think Stafford was always their number one target. I think it came together nicely. But what I thought was interesting is that it came out that Stafford's only team that he wouldn't go to was the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating, because you don't often hear guys in this league talking about not wanting to play for the Patriots.
Right.
And I think it was interesting that Monday Morning Quarterback at SI.com had a breakdown of how this trade happened. It was essentially a conference call between the ownership in Detroit and the ownership in LA, and they knocked it out. And it just so happened that Stafford and Sean McVay were on vacation in Cabo at the same time when the deal went down. And they wound up having dinner together after the trade was finalized, which I think is why are you skeptical of that?
I don't buy it for a second, dude. Don't buy it for a second.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean, what am I talking about?
So wait,
two of the same guys in the same league on two different teams are in the same place at the exact same time when the guys traded.
Yeah,
and you're telling me that it's just a matter of convenience, that it's a matter of coincidence that they were there. I don't buy that for a second.
There were a bunch of it. What was Sean McVay waiting to make that, or excuse me, was Sean Payton of the Saints waiting to make that deal?
I don't know.
He was in Cabo.
I don't know. What I'm telling you is, when's the last time you heard of a head coach and a recently traded player being in the exact same place at the exact same time?
It doesn't happen
right
very
after
often.
A trade. So that's what I'm saying. What do you mean? What am I talking about, dude?
You were such a conspiracy
What are you talking
theorist.
about, dude? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like, when's the last time? I'm serious. Think about this. Put some thought into it. When is the last time a major athlete and a head coach were in the exact same place at the exact same time when a trade went down? When's the last time that happened?
Well, it doesn't happen very often because it's sheer coincidence that they happen to be there.
Okay.
It's Cabo San Lucas.
Right.
It's one of the top destination spots in the world. I mean, it's very close to L.A. It's to me, it's not surprising at all.
Okay. Yeah, I look at it completely differently, obviously.
Were the Rams trying to trade for Drew Brees? Because he was there too. Like, I think a lot of NFL guys go to Cabo. I think a lot of people go to Cabo.
It doesn't matter about the other players. I could give a damn about Drew Brees or anybody else who was there. I'm more specifically talking about why was Sean McVay there?
Vacation.
Okay.
They were not staying at the same resort.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't. I'm just telling you that is extremely rare.
Okay. Did you read this on Infowars.com?
No.
Why are you so upset about this?
Because it's like you're making it out like it's outlandish what I'm saying, and it's not. Like it doesn't happen in the NBA. It certainly doesn't happen in the NHL. It doesn't happen in Major League Baseball.
I don't think anything happened. I think they were coincidentally in the same place. What are you getting all pissed off about?
Okay.
Man.
Okay.
I didn't mean to upset you, Jake.
I don't buy it, dude. I don't buy it. That they just, oh, yeah, we were both in Cabo. We were partying. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Matt, you just got traded. So why don't we go have dinner and talk about the playbook? Come on, dude. Like, we're not stupid. Like honestly, we're not stupid.
I ain't saying, I mean, nobody's ever accused you of being smart. I'm not saying you're stupid, though. You know what I'm saying? Should we believe that the Rams are favored to win the NFC next year? Jeez,
no,
let's move on.
We shouldn't believe that. I think Matt Stafford has to learn the playbook. I think it's the first playbook he's had to learn in 10 years.
I'm not worried about that at all.
I think it's a lot of change. I don't think it's a gimme that they're just going to go out and win the NFC. I don't.
I think it's really close now. They have an elite defense. They're not losing a bunch of dudes. I look at the fact that you got rid of Jared Goff, which is going to give a mental boost to everybody on that team. I feel like if I look at the main contenders, right now today, I would think that the Rams are better than the Packers, would probably have beaten the Packers if they had Matthew Stafford. I think Matt's a cold weather quarterback, so he's not going to have trouble traveling east. I think the Rams are really close to Tom Brady and the Bucks, who I thought were the best team in the NFC this year. We already know they're better than Aaron Rodgers, who can't win ever. So I'm not worried about the Packers, ever.
He's not a winner, dude. He's not.
Aaron Rodgers sucks. Anyway, he doesn't suck. I'm just poking the Packers.
He's not a winner, man.
Who do you look at going forward then? I mean, obviously the Bears, but that's a gimme. The point is, who do you look at if you're looking at the NFC? I mean, I look at the Packers. Packers are always there. I think the Rams are there. I think the Bucs will be there because there's no indication that Tom Brady's going to retire.
Right.
And I think as long as TB12's their quarterback, I think you have to look at them and say, hey, yeah, they're going to be there. Seattle's going to be there. I think the Cardinals will probably be a much more difficult out next year. I mean, I think a lot of the names remain the same. I think they're going to be very good.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to be there too. I think it's this whole Deshaun Watson situation is hilarious now with them saying that they're not going to trade him and they're committed to him long term. And it's like, you don't seem to understand. That's cool. You're committed to him long term, then you're going to pay him not to play. That's essentially what you're saying. So I guess if that's the situation, that's the situation. But my point with the 49ers is if they can go and get Deshaun, then they instantly become, one of the favorites to win the NFC. But yeah, I just think with Stafford and the Rams, the reason I'm not just going to say, well, hey, they're one of the favorites to win the NFC right out of the gate is the same. This is the same discussion that we talked about when Tom moved to Tampa, which is, hey, it's a lot of change.
It's Tommy, please.
Yeah, it's a lot of change.
It's a lot of change for who?
For Stafford.
For Tommy?
Yeah, for Tommy, sure.
Say it like
Tommy,
a Boston.
yeah.
Tommy.
Uh-huh.
Tommy Brady.
Right, yeah, okay. Anyway, point is that
you are not happy right now.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, the point is that we can't just give the Rams, like, and make them a favorite. Like Matt Stafford needs to come in. He needs to learn a playbook. He needs to, create trust with the players and the offense. He needs to do all that first. And then they got to go out and do it on the field. Like, yes, this is why you made the trade, to go out and win something. But it's one thing to say, hey, we're going to go out and win it. It's another thing to go out and actually win the games, as we saw in Tampa Bay. We saw that they had some issues. We saw that there was some early season struggle. So that's why I say it's not just a gimme.
By the way, Eric and Raleigh is awake.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The Patriots beat the Rams 13-3. Jake got it right. And Jake is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Cocoa Puffs?
I don't. I'm more of a Fruity Pebbles guy.
Okay. I like Fruity Pebbles as well.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Just search The Monty Show. Monty, The Monty Show. Who's winning the Super Bowl? Early. Obviously, it's only Monday. Teams haven't even arrived yet, but Super Bowl week kicking off today. I mean, if you had to go out on a limb,
mm-hmm.
you got Tommy and the Bucks, or you got Mahomes and the Chiefs. I mean, I think you got to favor the Chiefs here still.
Yeah, you have to. But the thing that's scary to me is that Brady and the Bucks are experienced, and that's the thing. I think Tom.
So is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but I think sure he's experienced, but Tom Brady's on a different level. Patrick Mahomes has never been down 28-0. Patrick Mahomes has never been in a situation where it's doomsday essentially, and they have to come back. They were behind by 10 points or whatever it was, or 7 points to the Bills, and came back and kicked their ass too. I mean, it wasn't even close. So that's why I say, like, yes, he's got experience, but not the same way Brady does. So, like, I give the edge to Brady and the Bucks in that category. But the thing that's really scary is, the Chiefs just have this ability to dominate defenses. Like, there's just so many ways that they can beat you that I think the conversation is not how are the Bucks going to stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The conversation is, hey, Tom Brady needs to possess the football for a long time in this game to win the game. Like, you gotta have 10, 12-minute drives that last a long time, because that's really the best way for you to play defense against the Chiefs. Don't give the ball to Patrick Mahomes. And when that's happened, when teams have done that, good things have happened.
Buck says it sounds like Jake is hedging. Matthew Stafford is a far better quarterback than Jared Goff, and Goff is without question a bust. Just another soft Pac-12 guy. Well, yeah, Jared Goff went to Cal, so I would agree that he is Carson Palmer.
How am I hedging, though? Like, what does that mean? How am I hedging?
Jared Goff is a bust. Okay, I mean, he's a former number one overall. Well, but you did kind of soft pedal that. I mean, is Jared Goff a bust in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, he was a number one overall pick. He went to the Super Bowl and lost. Okay, he's a bust.
Right, but he's not. But he's not the reason they went to the Super Bowl.
Okay, but he was the quarterback. So is he? Is that just means nothing?
He was almost irrelevant on that team.
Well, okay. I mean, that's fine. So the next time that someone goes to a Super Bowl,
mm-hmm.
we better use the same logic here. In the same way with a different team. Like, if we're going to talk about bust,
mm-hmm.
then isn't Carson Wentz a bust? Isn't all these other guys who haven't been
Carson Wentz is a huge bust.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
But look at Tommy. Nobody's ever going to call Tommy a bust, right?
No, because he has 6 rings, and he's probably going to try and win.
Who's got 6 rings?
Tom Brady.
Tommy.
I don't know why you're pushing this on me right now. I'm not in the mood.
Tom Brady. Why are you crabby?
I don't know, dude. It frustrates me that people think it's such a crazy idea that it wasn't just a matter of convenience for them. Like, I don't believe that in the sports world, that people just happen to show up and, like, they were just on vacation. That never happens.
You're back on the Cabo thing?
I'm just telling you. You're asking me why I'm not in a good mood. That's why I'm not in a good mood, because everyone's saying that that's outlandish, and I don't think it's outlandish.
They were on vacation together.
Mm.
Just Google search Kelly Stafford and get your rocks off for a while so your mood improves. What is wrong with you? Jeez, happy Monday. For a guy who almost won the whole freaking thing, like Jake had a great month at Yelp. It's day one of the next month. Like, you should be ready to run through a brick wall, my man.
I am, but I'm not in Yelp mode right now. I'm in figure out how they.
I'm in Sean McVay's a prick who cheated to get Stafford.
Yeah, and fine. If you want to say I'm hedging against Goff, fine. Like, what's going to happen? Let me ask you this. What happens if Goff goes to Detroit and takes them to the playoffs? then what are we going to be talking
That
about?
would be a pretty miraculous turnaround considering they suck.
They do suck, and I'm not saying the odds are likely. I'm not saying that that's probably going to happen.
If he were to go to Detroit and completely revolutionize their fortunes and turn that team around, hey, I'm happy to cook that crow over medium and eat it.
Do we honestly think that he's going to be there a long time, though?
No,
like, I don't feel like he's even going to be there a long time.
They're rebuilding. They're gonna eat his money this year, and then I think for the most part, you're in a situation where this isn't the Nolan Arenado trade.
Yeah.
Where somebody paid somebody $50 million. Like,
by the way,
that's not what happened here.
Dude, when you're on Twitter, make sure that you're tweeting at the right Cardinals organization. There were like a bunch of tweets to the Arizona Cardinals about Nolan Arenado. He's not going to the Arizona Cardinals. He's going to the St. Louis Cardinals to ruin the Cubs season.
Hey, asshole. He's a baseball player.
Idiot.
Anyway, I'll stop.
Okay.
By the way, real quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe this will put you in a better mood.
I'm coming out of my bad mood now, so don't take me back.
It was coincidence.
Right.
Cursing. Mm-hmm. Can we have a conversation about cursing real quick?
Sure.
Because we don't have any rules on this show. My good friend Owen Murphy, who is a radio juggernaut and frankly one of the most brilliant producers I've ever been around. Mm-hmm. We for a very short time before Owen started making music did a podcast called the No Rules Podcast. Mm-hmm. And it was exactly that. We talk sports without any rules. Well, we kind of do the same thing here. Mm-hmm. And I happen to use some colorful language on the regular basis.
I try to stay calm and not curse.
Which doesn't happen on this show very regularly at all, because I neither stay calm and I curse all the time.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think I just say shit. Sample what comes out of my mouth.
Right? And so somebody that I used to work with, who I respect highly, who listens to the show every day, so fuck you, prick. No, I'm kidding.
Vexes me.
I'm terribly vexed.
Vexed.
But this guy that I used to work with said to me, "Why do you curse so much?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's not like I plan it.
Uh-huh.
Unless I'm being, like I'm kidding around or whatever. But it's not like I plan it. I don't have, like, if you're doing a radio show, you cannot curse. Like, you don't. It just doesn't happen.
And some only want to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah. So on a podcast that I own, that I have no rules, and I set the rules, which are there are no rules. I can say whatever I want. Mm-hmm. But the question is, should there be a ban on cursing on the Monty Show? Because I've been asked about this more than twice.
We need more context, though. Like, so of the people who've asked you, just generally speaking, it doesn't need to be specific, but like, of the people who have asked you, have they said, like, have they given you a reason why? Like, that they are they just asking why, or are they saying they don't want it? Like, because that's a different thing.
He didn't say he didn't want it. He just said, don't you worry that people aren't going to listen because you curse. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know. I never really thought about it that way. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know. Do we do? I have no idea.
Yeah. If you're turned off by someone cursing, like, okay, cool. I guess that's your prerogative.
You're probably a dick.
Yeah. Like I
What the fuck are you, Ranger Rick?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's a podcast. It's not a radio show. Like, I just think that's the whole point of podcasts. Now, if you said to me, hey, like, if someone sincerely asked us, like, hey, I listen every day, but my kids are in the car, would you mind? Okay, then, like, maybe I could consider it.
That's never happened.
But, like, nobody's ever asked us that, so I don't know. I don't, I guess I just don't view it as that big of a deal. Like, I don't think that, like, I think if you think that curse words are a big deal, then you have very old world, like, views. Like,
Well, and Barry beat me to the punch because Barry asked a question that just about everybody asks. Don't you worry that cursing makes you look unintelligent? No, I don't. Because I don't believe that people who curse are unintelligent.
I just thought that you would appreciate me treating you like an adult.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Unintelligent. Like, I feel like it's almost insulting to say...
By the way, is unintelligent even a word?
It is.
It is a word?
It is, yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, well, you curse too much, so you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, I've never viewed it as an issue. I've never viewed it as an issue. I could pretty easily not curse on this show.
It's not like you curse like all the time. I mean, it only really comes out when you're talking about how people are losing their ass over stocks or like, just things of that nature that are like affecting the world, I guess. But I don't know. My personal opinion is I don't believe it's that big of a deal. I don't think if you curse a lot that it makes you look like an idiot or stupid or whatever. If that was the case, then rappers wouldn't curse. All these comedians wouldn't curse. Like the average Joe wouldn't curse. Like I just don't think it's some like world-ending thing. Now, I do think there are a lot of people in the world who have very traditional views and values, like a lady at Costco that we happen to have an interesting run-in with, who you happen to drop an F-bomb walking into Costco, and she's like, "What?" I can't remember what she said. She was like, "Watch your mouth" or something.
No, she's like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I cursed about buying something.
Yeah, you were like, "F that,"
and it was really expensive for whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "F that."
Yeah.
Now we're not cursing; we're saying F instead of
"Fucked it."
Right? Yeah, and she turned around. She's like, "Really?" It's like, okay. I don't know. I curse a lot. I do. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, does it really bother people that much?
Do you look down on people who curse a lot?
No, because I curse a lot. I don't. Like, I think it's just...
When other people curse, does it hurt your ears? Like, does it make your ears stand up?
No, it doesn't make my ears stand up. I think there's it's just like anything else. There's a... I'm not going to call it an art form cursing, but I will say that there's a certain way to do it and not do it, and make it sound good, I guess, is.
Well, it's all intent. I mean, if you tell somebody to F off, there's a lot of different ways to do that.
Right.
I think it's all intent. I think it's how you use the word. I don't use, I would never, it's funny, we were playing Xbox. My wife was listening to a podcast. And it's a series, actually, about the origin of different curse words.
Right.
And the B word for women came up.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't use that word.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have we gotten into brawls at LA Fitness because I called somebody a B on the basketball court? Oh, yes.
Are we clear on that?
And I knew exactly what I was doing. But you will never hear me refer to a woman as a C or a B. Mm-hmm. That's low class.
Right.
Right?
I would agree.
But, if you're going to use the F word, and you use it in anger, okay, that's different. Mm-hmm. But if you're joshing around, having a little fun, It is what it is.
I want better fucking execution.
It's fine. I'm fine with the way he used it there. So I think if you listen to this podcast at all, and Lawrence, I love you. I don't know who you are, but Lawrence is an LA guy, or excuse me, a San Francisco guy. Jeez, he's never going to listen to us again. Lawrence said, I just don't know why so many people care. You could always turn the channel if you don't like it. Well, yeah, exactly right. I mean,
love that show.
Yeah, you're not turning this show off because it's amazing. And you're going to hit the subscribe button on YouTube.
If you guys ever want to kick it, we'll flow.
Yeah, I mean, let's kick it on YouTube Live. The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube. I don't know. My point is, I don't know why people I don't think anybody's been upset that I curse a lot.
How did this all come up? Like, so someone reached out to you and just asked?
Yeah, I was talking to a guy about, a radio station.
Uh-huh.
Because I was asked by a sports website that I'm going to talk about in a couple of weeks when it comes out. I was asked by a website to write a piece about a radio station.
Hey, look here, man.
So they said, hey, look here, man. You want to write a piece? I was like, yeah, I'll write a piece. Great. So I was kind of reaching out to a couple of people in the industry that I know. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, yeah, by the way, I love your podcast. I listen every day. And we were talking about what it's like to work with you and how we get along and what's our dynamic and na. And, he was asking me, he asked me the typical radio guy question, why don't you work in radio anymore? And this is where the podcast came up. And he said, well, why aren't you in the business anymore? And I said, well, I am. I do a podcast every day that's doing quite well for us. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I'm well paid at Yelp. I'm a top performer. I make really good money. We're opening a business. Like they're right now.
We got
it's
things
just
going.
Yeah, it's just not in the cards for me right now. And I love doing this podcast. And he said, "Oh yeah, I know the podcast. I listen every day. Why do you curse so much?" That's how it happened. And I was just saying to the guy, well, I don't really think about it. It's not something that
because it's a podcast.
And he said, and then he said, well, aren't you worried that if somebody listens to that, they wouldn't hire you? And I said, well, I'm not really bucking for a radio job. A lot of people in Salt Lake City asked me this as well. Like, hey, why aren't you on the air in Salt Lake City? Did you move back to Salt Lake City to take a radio job? And what I said was, well, not really, because I have a great job at Yelp. I mean, you would literally have to kill me to get me out of there. Yeah. I don't know what it would take for me to quit Yelp at this point. That'd be really difficult for me. I'm making good money. Like I said, I'm a top producer. I'm making good money. I have great benefits. Culture's great. Why would I leave there, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm not bucking for a radio job. So I don't think about it in terms of, oh my God, holy fuck, if I curse, they're not going to give me a job. I don't think about it that way.
Right.
Right? And I just cursed right there. But my point is, now it's going to be in my head. My point is, I don't worry about getting a job or not getting a job.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really looking for a job.
Right.
Right? If somebody says to me, hey, how's your podcast going? How many people listen to your podcast? I don't know, about 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm good with that. I don't need 100 million people listening to my podcast. I'm happy where the podcast is.
Right.
Pre-pandemic, we were making stacks on the podcast. I feel like we have I'm not worried about my cursing impacting my radio career.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we were doing this show as an air check to get a job, okay, maybe I could see that.
Yeah, and by the way, the show would be completely different if we were doing that.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's not what this show's about at all on any level.
And by the way, I also think the other side that guys in the radio industry, and it's no offense to them, I just think too often it happens where they don't think about it from the point of view of if you are cursing or if it's more relaxed, that's more relatable to the listener. Because I think the fact of the matter is most people do curse. I just think that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's some massive issue that would lose us thousands of listeners. If that's the case, we wouldn't have got here. So.
Yeah, and Lawrence makes a really good point. He said, I used to listen to you on KMBR, and I've listened to your podcast since you guys moved to Arizona. I've never noticed that you curse a lot. Yeah. Maybe people are looking for issues. Well, I mean, when you're a radio guy, and this is something I think a lot of people don't consider. Mm-hmm. When you work in radio and then you listen to the radio or you listen to a podcast, you hear it differently. You hear how people are executing. You hear how people are talking about certain things.
Right.
So the way that people host shows strikes your ear differently. That's really why I think that. I don't know that any listener has ever said to me, "Hey, you curse too much."
Yeah, and I think if you go back and listen to, I don't remember what day last week we did it, but it's on the channel. If you go back and listen to it, the specific conversation we had about GameStop and AMC and how the hedge funds were trying to essentially screw people.
Yeah, like last Thursday.
I think it was a Thursday. I think it was
something like that.
In that conversation, you cursed a few times. It's those kind of passionate conversations that I think it comes out a little bit more. But I would agree with the guy in Twitter, Lawrence.
Yeah.
I know for a fact we don't curse a lot. I think it just happens to come out when we're talking about things that are that hit home. I mean, you're talking about hedge funds screwing people out of their money and hoping for companies like GameStop to fail. And that's why we are with the stock situation. So, I just don't think it's... I'm not trying to minimize it, but I am just going to say I really don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay, so should we not curse the rest of the week?
No, I don't think you should. I don't think we should change anything.
By the way, speaking of AMC, pre-market number on AMC is all the way up to 1650. Mm-hmm. Today could be a good day. So... a lot of people have asked me if I sold my AMC. I have not. I hung on to it.
Okay.
So, real quick on AMC, make sure you hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. Search YouTube. If you just Google search The Monty Show, or if you just go to my website, themontyshow.com, it'll take you to YouTube, and just hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate that. I did not sell my stake in AMC. Much to my wife's chagrin. I did not. I hung on to it because Thursday was a real volatile day. Like Thursday was, I'm not going to say Thursday was frustrating, but it was the day that the whole, Robin Hood scandal went down, and that almost galvanized me against the hedge funds and against the shorts. Because I still think Robin Hood, the CEO of Robin Hood, is lying through his teeth.
I would agree.
So I hung on to my AMC. And now I'm glad I did because Thursday night I found out that the short positions were at $9. And I should have known that the day I bought the stock. I didn't. But I was reading and the short was at $9.
Yeah.
The stock was at 13.
It's a spread for sure
So,
if you're short on it.
I mean, if you do the math, figure it out. If you're short at $9 a share, you got to cover everything over $9 a share. If everybody just hangs on to their AMC shares, the number's going to stay high. And real quick, A plus B equals C. If you want the price of a stock to go up, you buy more. You need people to buy more and sell less. If the stock is going down, it's because people are selling. So everybody in AMC held their water on Friday. It closed at $13.26. So the shorts this morning will have to buy up from $9 to cover the $4.26 from $9 to $13.26. So at the market open, AMC is going to be way up.
Yeah.
So I'm at this point in the money already.
Well, and I think a lot of people are in your situation too. Like I know there is a select group of people, as there is with every stock, who got in way early, like 8 months ago, not knowing that this was going to happen, and obviously their spread is going to be tremendous. I
know people who got in at AMC on the bottom.
Yeah,
I know people who got into AMC at $3.20 something. I know people that got one of my friends at work got in at $5.
Yeah, and so I think if you're one of those people who got in sub $5, I would say $5 or below. If you're one of those people, there's no reason you should be selling. You should be holding on to this and riding the wave, because at the end of the day, you're only going to start losing money if the stock goes below whatever you bought it at. So your break even in those people's cases is like $3 or $5, or it's really low. So the fact that pre-market, before the stock even starts trading for the day, it's at 16 is a great sign, because that means that it's not a gimme, but I would say there's a really good shot that it gets to 20 today, based on everything.
And there's momentum. Call it what it is. There's momentum. So if we get to, when the market opens here in 3 minutes, if we get to $20, that's where you're going to really have to push me to stay in it. Anything over 20, I'm going to ride the momentum. Anything over 20, I'm probably going to sell.
I mean, I think once you're at 20, then you really got to Hawkeye it. I mean, you really got to every 5 minutes, hey.
If it jumps it open one way or the other, that's going to tell you where the momentum is.
Right.
And, we'll see what happens. I don't know. We're at 1650 now. So there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of volume happening in pre-market. That means there's a lot of orders on the table ready to go. So we'll see what that looks like. It potentially will be a pretty robust jump.
So do you think after this whole AMC GameStop situation cools off, because eventually it's going to cool off. Eventually,
this week it'll cool off.
It'll chill out. What are you going to find your next stock, or do you think that you'll
probably not. My wife is hardcore against it. To me, I would do this all day with $500 or $1,000, but I'm trying to open a business. Number one. So I think it's one of those things where what? She's my wife is.
She disagrees that she's hardcore against.
Oh, she is absolutely against day trading. She's not, and I don't see how. She literally is standing over here incredulously. She has straight up told me I wouldn't do it. She said Friday I wouldn't do this again, and it's I would do it again.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
There are real equity positions, like silver right now.
Crazy.
I almost bought silver last Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and I probably should have, because now it's way up.
Yeah.
It's up 10% this morning on open.
Right.
I don't know how you. Anyway, point is, I would do it all day. Once my business is open and we're making money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll.
That's kind of the mode that I'm in.
Yeah.
That's kind of the mode that I am. I really want to. I'm not saying I want to do it for a living, but I do want to get involved with it. But at the same time, we have things that we have to essentially do right now. And I'm not in a position to just, throw money away, as they say. So, to me, I think to be involved, you want to be able to play with money that you don't care about losing. So that's, that's
which is what I did with AMC.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
I mean, if I'd have given away right, but if I'd have given away 100% of the money I made on AMC, I'll never regret it.
Right. Yeah.
I'll never regret it because there's a chance I'm going to triple my money today. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what I'm in this for. Yeah. So, I don't look at stocks any differently than I look at buying Jordans or, I've bought a lot of yoga pants lately. We just haven't been spending a lot of money on things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think our biggest expenditures lately have been appliances.
And those are nice appliances.
Yeah, I mean, we bought a townhouse in Salt Lake City that needed some repair.
Man, it needed some upgrading in New York, bro.
Yeah, the East Coast is getting hammered today. But anyway, the point is, I just don't spend a lot of money right now because we're moving towards opening a business.
Yeah.
So, anyway, here nor there. Yes, I would. In the future, I'll dabble. I'll dabble for thousands. You're never going to catch me dabbling at tens of thousands.
Right.
I'm just not, I don't do it for a living.
Yeah.
So there's really no point to me doing it. So we'll see. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Point is, I feel really good about it. I feel like today's going to be a good day for AMC. We'll see. Let's talk Utah Jazz here on the Monty Show. This has been a constant topic of conversation. The Jazz had won 11 straight. They had done that recently without Donovan Mitchell, who's been in the concussion protocol. That all came to an end last night against the Denver Nuggets, and it happened in impressively ugly fashion to the Denver Nuggets, and Nikola Jokic put up 47 points on Rudy Gobert. And it wasn't accidental. Was the loss a product of threes? Yes. The Denver Nuggets came out and shot the lights out. The Jazz did not. Rudy Gobert is going to be a topic of conversation every day for the rest of his Jazz career because of this contract. Like it or hate it, it is what it is.
Right.
Rudy Gobert played terrible defense last night on Jokic. And this is the problem for Rudy Gobert, and I think a lot of Jazz fans don't want to talk about this. Rudy Gobert cannot guard the perimeter. And when you have a guy like Nikola Jokic, who is a three-point shooter, who just happens to be a 7-footer that plays center and has a mid-range and has a three-game, Rudy Gobert gave him 2 feet at the three-point line, and he killed him for it. And I mean, it was one of those things where Gobert was so far out of his game, he shot an air ball on a layup. On a ball he should have dunked, like he shot an air ball, which I just don't understand it. And his play, I think, is going to determine where the Jazz go and where they don't go. And I think he is, with that contract, I'm telling you, he is as important to this team offensively as Donovan Mitchell is. Mm-hmm. And it's a real concern because, Jake, I look at the Denver Nuggets, and I think the Denver Nuggets are a better team than the Jazz right now.
Yeah, I think the simple way to put it is the Denver Nuggets have more ways to win than the Utah Jazz do. If they want to play through Jokic, they can do that. If they want to play through Jamal Murray, they can do that. If they want to play a team brand of basketball where they're not playing through anybody, they're just trying to move the ball around and get the defense to move, they can do that as well. When I look at the Jazz, yes, certainly they can move the ball around. They've shown us that they have great ball movement in their offense. But I don't think that you can offensively play through Rudy Gobert the way you can play through Nikola Jokic, number one. Number two, the problem for Utah is I also don't think you can consistently play through Donovan Mitchell because the defenses work so hard against him. They will double team him. They will take him away because they know there's not another option that can hurt them consistently. And so that's why I say, yeah, I would agree with you. I think the Denver Nuggets are a problem. I think they are a better team. They may not have a better record right now, but I do think they're a more talented team, no doubt.
Well, when you have a situation where Donovan Mitchell only scores 13 points, this is not the Lakers who have AD to balance LeBron and vice versa, right? This is not the LA Clippers who have, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just don't have the ability to have Donovan Mitchell last night score 13 points. You give up 128 and you think that's a formula to win because it's not.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, Royce O'Neal was 4 for 4 from 3 last night. Meaningless.
Yeah.
Because unless you get a big performance out of Donovan Mitchell against the Nuggets, you're not going to win. He is not, and this is something else that I think is a really interesting talking point on the Jazz. Look at what Dame did to the Bulls the other night. Is Donovan Mitchell capable of doing that?
Well, he's capable.
He's capable of doing that.
Sure, but he's never going to be in that position.
But right now he's not.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think that they're consistent enough, and I think the Utah Jazz live and die on the 3-ball. And when you play the Nuggets and you're this great shooting 3 team in the Jazz, number 1 in the NBA, well, what happens when the Nuggets shoot 60% from 3?
And they play great defense on the perimeter.
You're going to lose.
Yep.
That's what happens.
And that's why I said last week, and I feel like I got some flack from the folks who listen. Like, people were not happy that I said that the Jazz were this was just a streak that they were on, that this is not who they are, because it's not who they are. Like, and I truly believe that. I don't believe that the Jazz are the number 1 team in the Western Conference. I believe that they're like the 3rd or 4th team in the Western Conference, because the Clippers are a better team, the Lakers are the best team in the West, and then you have the Nuggets, who, depending on how they play, are a better team than you. Last night, they were a better team than you. In a 7-game series, they're probably a better team than you 4 times, which means they win the series, in my opinion.
Is Rudy Gobert an All-Star? Because I think this is also a conversation.
Man, that's really difficult. Like, I want to say yes, because he is one of the fact is he's one of the best big men we have in the league. The problem is that his skill set and the way he goes about playing the game is painful.
Yes.
Like, he's just a rebound cleanup guy who that's all he does, and he sets a lot of screens. Like, do they play tonight? Do you know when they play? Like, is it tomorrow or is it tonight? One of the two. Whenever they play again, the next time you watch a Jazz basketball game, don't watch the other players on the floor. Just watch Rudy Gobert. Watch how he plays the game. Watch what he's trying to do. And I guarantee you what you will see is he's going to run down. He'll start in the middle of the paint on offense. He's going to come up to the free throw line. And he's going to set a pick. He's going to set another pick, and then he's going to go to the basket, and they're going to shoot a 3. They make that 3, they win the game. If they lose that 3, if they miss that 3, they hope that he cleans it up. And if he doesn't, we're going down on defense. That's what they do. And that's the frustrating part. So I don't think he's an all-star. No.
Yeah, they play tomorrow night, Tuesday, against the Pistons at Vivint Arena. Vivint Smart Home Arena, excuse me. I think the issue for Rudy Gobert is that he is not popular outside of Salt Lake, number 1. And he doesn't score points. And the All-Star game is a sex appeal kind of thing.
Yes.
Where Donovan Mitchell's an All-Star, there's no doubt about that.
Right.
Rudy Gobert is not. And I think Rudy Gobert gets exposed against mobile big men.
Yep.
And I think it's why the elite centers in this league are not Rudy Gobert now. And I was, again, happy to say I was a Gobert apologist for a while. But his offensive game is not improved. Mm-hmm. It is why I don't believe that Giannis is the NBA's most valuable player.
Right.
Because he can't shoot. Yeah. And it's why I consistently ask, why do teams play him tight on the perimeter? I will never understand that.
There are games where he knocks it down, but for the most part, he doesn't knock it down. And I think for Giannis, there's no doubt he's working on his shot. I mean, there is no doubt that he is.
And he may be working on it, and he needs to work on it.
Yeah.
He absolutely needs to work on it. But you cannot, and again, I'm happy to fall on my sword for this. You cannot tell me that a guy who can't shoot a mid-range, that the only thing he can do is lay up or dunk, is an MVP.
Yeah.
He's not. And I look at LeBron, I look at Anthony Davis, and I make the same argument for those two guys. One of those two should be MVP every year until they're not, because without the other, they're not winning a championship. Period.
And
End of story.
Do you feel like that hurts guys like Kevin Durant who play with Harden and Kyrie, like players who play with 2 other stars?
Oh, there's no doubt.
Because I think with the AD LeBron thing, it's a different dynamic than when you have 3.
But how do the Bucks losing to the Charlotte Hornets the other night,
which is insane to me,
how does that not hurt Giannis?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because nobody will talk about it.
Yeah.
Because he and with all due respect to Giannis and Bucks fans, he is this darling, and I have yet to figure this out. Giannis Antetokounmpo is bulletproof in this league. The guy's an embarrassment as a mid-range player. Like, he routinely shoots air balls on free throws and 3-pointers.
Yeah, all the time.
How?
All the time.
And then you want to call this guy an MVP. And that's why I said he's like something created because he's not an offensive force in half-court offense.
Yeah, the reason, and I don't say this as an argument because I completely agree with you. I don't think it should be the MVP, but I think the reason that it gets so much run in the MVP conversation is because of the plays that he does make. So if you think about guys like, and again, I'm not comparing him to these guys, but just for the sake of the conversation, think about the way guys like Michael and Kobe and those type of players played the game. They were not transition players for the most part. Like, yeah, they can make the highlight dunk in transition. They made their living off of the mid-range and skill, right? That's how they made their living, and that's how they were able to put up consistent numbers constantly. Whereas a guy like Giannis, and Harden was like this for a while until he improved, but Giannis just makes his living getting up and down. He's just going to out-athlete you, and he's going to run down the floor as fast as he can, and that's how he gets his points. And so when you're playing half-court offense in the postseason, you're going to lose because you don't know how to play half-court offense, because you can't shoot a mid-range game, you don't have a back-to-the-basket game, all you do is get fouled.
You'll never be what Dame is to Portland. And I'm sorry I keep using his name, but you're never going to be what Dame is in Portland. A guy that when the game's on the line, there's only one guy that's getting the ball.
Yeah.
And in Milwaukee, it's not Giannis.
No, it's Chris Middleton.
That's exactly right. And in Utah, it's not Rudy Gobert. It's Donovan Mitchell. It should be anyway. Like, I look at that loss to the Nuggets last year. Who took the final shot? Mike Conley. Did it go in?
Nope.
No. Should it have been Donovan Mitchell, who was wide open on the other wing? Yes.
Yep.
Was it? No. Did the Jazz win? No, they lost. For Dame, there's no it's not C.J. McCollum.
Right.
It's Damian Lillard.
But there's clearly defined roles, and I think whether you're looking at the Lakers, whether you're looking at Portland, and I would even use this with the Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets have three, essentially, when they're on the court. Gary Harris isn't a superstar, but they have Gary Harris, and he does play a big role for them. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at their team from the big picture perspective, it is Jamal Murray, and it is Nikola Jokic. So they essentially have a big two, and Gary Harris is kind of the Robin to their Batman, you know? And so that's why I say for the Jazz, like, if you're a Jazz fan, I would not be getting your hopes up. If you're a Jazz fan, I think you have to understand that your team is literally make or break on the three ball. If they shoot at a high percentage in any given game,
and
they're going to win. But that's why you see they're such a streaky team. And that's why, like a couple weeks ago, we talked about should Quinn Snyder be on the hot seat. I don't think he should be on the hot seat. I think the GM of this squad should be on the hot seat because this team is just so desperate to shoot and make a lot of threes to win games.
Well, Sojo B-Man, what's up, my guy? Good to hear from you. Says Jokic is the best player on the court and such a horrible matchup for Gobert. He takes Gobert out of what he does best, but I think the two teams are relatively equal with a slight edge to Denver. I don't mind that.
I would agree with that.
I don't mind that at all.
I'm not saying that Denver's like somehow way better. What I'm saying is that, again, the best way that I can think to say it is they have more ways to beat you. That's how I like to say it, because I'm not saying that they're an outright better team. The Jazz have a better record. I mean, do they still have the best record in the league or whatever? I mean, the Jazz are playing well.
Their metrics, listen to me, their metrics are incredible. Like KSL.com had a piece on them. The Jazz have beat 9 teams that are currently in the mix for the playoffs. They like their metrics in their 11-game winning streak are unbelievable. Scoring 124 points per 100 possessions. That's nearly 4 points better than the second-place team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? Over the course of the streak, the Jazz have outscored opponents by 20.5 points per game with Mike Conley on the floor. The 11 straight wins have come by an average of 15.6 points a game. Only 4-point win over Denver was the only game that wasn't double digits. Now, some of that is that they were playing teams that just weren't very good.
Dallas.
Frankly. Yeah, Dallas is not a playoff team.
No.
And if you want to talk about bust, they need to move on from Porzingis because they just haven't been able to get him going again. But the Jazz are playing elite basketball. Let's not couch that.
Yeah.
They're playing elite basketball.
Yeah.
They're not an elite basketball team. And that's a significant difference. They do this every year.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to be a hater because I'm not. The Jazz do this every year. They go on one of these runs where they win a bunch of games and then they just kind of cruise control.
Yep.
And it feels like Donovan Mitchell isn't going to let that happen this year. The Piston game tomorrow night is a huge game.
Yeah.
They need to come out and win that game by 20 because Pistons aren't very good.
Right. Yeah. It's a
Will
game
they?
they should win.
Will they? I don't know. We'll see. But my whole point on this is the Jazz are a good basketball team. They're not as good as this winning streak, and they're not as good as their numbers. And I don't believe they're going to continue to shoot this well.
I would agree.
I don't. I mean, what was Bogdanovich last night I think was 5 for 10 from 3.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like O'Neal was 4 of 4.
Yeah.
You're counting on Royce O'Neal. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like the way they go about winning games is just not reliable. That's the issue. I mean, you're winning games by shooting upwards of 55% from 3. That's not going to continue in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on YouTube. This is our final week on Periscope. I'll just keep saying that. This is our final week on Periscope. Make sure you find us at themontyshow.com. That'll take you right to our YouTube page. Just go ahead and smash the subscribe button. We are here every day right around 6 a.m. So make sure that you smash that. A lot of comments coming in on the Jazz. I got to tell you, our Jazz content on YouTube
People love it, dude.
is by far the most viewed.
And I'm an NBA guy, so I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love talking Jazz, without question. What I find so interesting is that people really get into that. Mm-hmm. And they're passionate about Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, as you should be if you're a Jazz fan.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
TheMontyShow.com. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. You're good to go. Can we talk about Alex Jones?
Yeah.
Infowars.com.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to talk about? What happened?
So the nut job known as Alex Jones. He has been pretty much blocked from every major platform.
Infowars.com.
Yeah, he's been blocked from pretty much every platform. Mm-hmm. The guy's a nut.
Infowars.com.
He is a conspiracy theorist. He's a nut job. I don't agree with him pretty much on anything. Alex Jones got a divorce because you should go and read about Alex Jones's divorce. It's crazy. And then there was the insurrection and the riot on the 5th and 6th of January. Mm-hmm. Alex Jones, supposedly and allegedly, from what I read, put up $50,000 of his own money to procure a spot to be a featured speaker. The insurrection happens on the 6th of January.
A feature speaker for...
At the rally.
Oh, at the rally. Okay, yeah.
Because he's trying to rebuild his brand. Because it's been incredibly damaged. Mm-hmm. He is trying to rebuild his brand. He puts up 50 G's to be a speaker. Okay, cool. We get it. QAnon, Alex Jones. I mean, it's incestuous.
Infowars.com.
Right? We get it. They're married to each other. They're bumping uglies. It's fine. That's probably too far, but I didn't curse. So Alex Jones, everything's fine. Well, it comes out over the weekend that it wasn't just $50,000, allegedly. So there is an heiress. Have you ever heard of Publix supermarkets?
Public supermarkets, what do you mean?
Publix.
Oh no, I haven't.
Huge supermarket chain in Florida.
Okay, no, I haven't heard of them.
Publix supermarkets has an heiress, which means when everybody dies, the money goes to this chick.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Well, it turns out that she reached out to Alex Jones. Tells you about the quality of this chick.
Hey, look here, man.
If you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, and you're reaching out to Alex Jones for anything, not going to be shopping at Publix anytime soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, the company, okay, she puts up a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. The company gets wind of it, Publix. And they're like, fuck it, fuck it, well, hey, she's not involved in the company, ever, no more.
Sir said, yeah.
I think ever, no more again is one of the greatest things ever. She's not involved in the company ever, no more again, at this time. They distance themselves from her huge, right? Because she's just the heiress. She doesn't run the company, but still, screw Publix.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, Alex Jones, she reaches out to Alex Jones.
Uh-huh.
Somebody check her meds. And she's like, hey, man, I got a stack of cash. I want to give to the cause.
Uh-huh.
Well, according to some people, that cause raised up to $1 million for the rally on the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Jones, I think now just sullies his reputation even further. I don't know if the $1 million is true. I don't think it will ever have any idea firmly of how much money Alex Jones was responsible for raising. Reports say his personal funds were $50,000.
Which is a relatively small number for...
In the grand scheme of things.
Right.
In the Trumpian grand scheme of things. But why is anybody paying attention to Alex Jones?
Well,
And you know what happened on the 6th. Is there anybody who thinks that what happened on the 6th, the insurrection, the riot, the destruction of the Capitol was a good thing?
Oh, I think there's a lot of people who think it was a good thing.
I don't think there's a lot.
I think
What's a lot?
Well, it's hard to define.
1 million?
Like 1 million people?
Yeah.
No, probably not 1 million people. I'd say a couple 100,000.
So what are we, 300 million people as a populace?
Yeah, I would say a couple 100,000. And I would say that comes from, obviously, they're Trump supporters, but I think that sect who thought the insurrection was a good thing are, they are hardcore believers in QAnon and Alex Jones and like all these people.
But see, like QAnon, and Mrs. Monty and I were talking about this. I think she was watching a podcast on this or something. Anyway, QAnon has taken a beating.
Right.
The failure of the QAnon conspiracy theories has really damaged QAnon. Who knew? Who knew that nut jobs and loony bins that follow QAnon and believe that Democrats molest children in the basement of the Capitol building would be disappointed by Donald Trump not saving the world?
Would I have stayed if I knew that?
Probably not. But good job wrecking the Capitol and going to prison. Congratulations. My point is, QAnon's taken a beating.
Right.
And yet Alex Jones still has a platform.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's always going to have a platform.
But is Alex Jones truly? And I'm asking seriously. And if you're an Alex Jones follower, please comment on YouTube
After you hit the subscribe button.
It is. Yeah, after you hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm going to talk about AMC again. I've got like 10 comments of people saying I'm here to find out why you didn't sell at AMC.
Okay,
including Michael Soto. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But the point is, why are you following Alex Jones? Like, conspiracy theories never come true. Give me a conspiracy. A grassy knoll shooter. What's the conspiracy theory that's come true? Area 51.
Well, the Earth is flat. That came true.
Well, the Earth is flat, pricks. Well, okay, it turns out you can't fall off the edge of the Earth.
Infowars.com.
Hey, Kyrie, you can't fall off the end of the... And then, there's all these videos on YouTube of guys who are being like, hey, man, I was actually wrong. The Earth is not flat.
What?
Are you sure? What? Anyway, it's shocking to me, and the whole point of this Yes, Steve, I get it.
Hurry up.
The point is, Alex Jones should not have a listenership. And he probably has way more listeners than we do.
Oh, no doubt. I think I'm telling you, it's hundreds of thousands of people deep.
TheMontyShow.com. Make sure you find it. Make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube. You go to TheMontyShow.com, it'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Just hit subscribe. Here's where I'm at on AMC. Michael Soto says, I'm here for the reason why you aren't selling AMC. The bet says, are you going to talk about AMC or not? Okay.
I want it.
Here's why I'm not selling AMC. And I talked about this earlier, but I'll talk about it again. Because Brett also was like, hey, stupid, why haven't you sold your... He called me stupid. He's like, hey, stupid. But listen, I haven't sold my AMC, and I'm being validated by this. I'm being validated by this.
Okay.
Because looking at the AMC stock numbers pre-market.
Right. They want to know why, though. Why didn't you sell it?
Because I'm never gonna agree with shorting a stock.
Okay.
B, I want to make money. I'm greedy as hell. I'm thirsty as hell right now. I want to make money.
Right.
And C, my wife's never going to let me short another stock again ever.
Wait, but you didn't short it.
I didn't short it. I'm just being a jerk because she's sitting like 3 feet away. But this is one of those times where I think history is being made.
No doubt. Yeah.
And at some point, we have to take a stand and stop being the little guy and understand it. And I hope people understand this. And I don't know that people do, but I hope you really grasp this. Things have changed. This isn't what it used to be. This isn't grandpa's stock market, right? This is my stock market now, our stock market now, the world's stock market. Anybody can now go and buy and sell shares.
Mm-hmm.
If you give your money to Robinhood, you're an idiot. That's on you, right? I'm an E-Trade guy. E-Trade didn't restrict my ability to buy or sell stock. So I'm just saying, I'm still in it because I'm greedy and thirsty. And I want to prove a point that I'm really hoping that when AMC opens up this morning that we get a big surge.
But talk about the momentum, about what you talked about earlier, because I think that's what really matters and what they're really asking
the actual mechanics of why I stayed in it is because the shorts are at $9. They shorted the stock at $9.
Okay.
And if the stock had closed Friday at $9 or below, the shorts would have won.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prevent that? Well, you don't sell your shares. You hold. And you hold your water and you take the risk because the risk is worth the reward. The juice is worth the squeeze, MFers.
Are we clear on that?
So you hang on to the stock to screw the short.
Yeah.
Because now it closed at $13.26 and it's at $14 right now.
It's moving.
At 13, they have to cover the gap, the $4.26 gap between $9 and $13.26.
Yep.
And it squeezes the billionaire hedge funds. And the people that back Robinhood, it squeezes them. It's retribution and punishment for trying to screw the little guy again.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
I'm not responsible. I hope their $1 billion losses make them feel responsible,
bro. I think what's really happened here, like in the big picture, I think what's really history making is that there have been what's called a short squeeze before, which is, hey, let's buy a bunch of stock and squeeze the people who have shorts on these things. But I don't think we've seen it to this level before. I mean, yes, the housing crash, okay, sure, but I'm talking about a stock in the market that can be openly sold or purchased. I don't think we've seen it to this level before. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of momentum to continue the wave. Like this week, I truly believe that the GameStop thing will come to an end. Like, I think that's run its course. I think that's where it's at. But there's no telling. Like, AMC could keep going, and there's many others that could keep going. So I think this week, as opposed to last week, the reason this week is so important, in my opinion, is because this week, if people like yourself, the quote-unquote little guy, who that should not even be a thing, but it is a thing, if the little guy who is involved in this will hold and continue to hold, I think you will see that price will continue to go up. It'll be a roller coaster, but I think it continues to climb.
Yeah. Don't be stupid, Monty. Sell the stock, Lawrence says. Lawrence is all of a sudden a stock trader.
Well, I get what he's saying. Like, yeah, don't, because you had said that you kept it because you were thirsty.
Dude, it's at $16.90 now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so today, the other thing that you said earlier, by the way, what this should tell all you guys who are coming in late listening, get in earlier, please. Thank you. And hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Listen, he literally talked about, hey, because you've said multiple times last week and today that your number is basically 20.
Yes.
And once it gets to 20, you're basically just going to be waiting to hit that sell button.
Yes.
For the exact right moment before it drops off again.
Yes.
So that's the plan.
Yeah, we're sitting here. I mean, we're just waiting. That's what this is. And you know what? I think it is. It'll be interesting. Let's put it that way. It will be interesting to see. It's at $16.80 right now. I'm gonna be fascinated by it. I am gonna watch it, and I'm excited to see where AMC goes today. I am really excited to see where AMC. That's the music.
Yeah,
Holy
that's
cow.
the music. Sorry.
Good morning.
That was a little aggressive.
All right, time to get on with the coronation. You should follow me on.
The election was stolen at Yelp.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Vindication, baby. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the show. A lot more on AMC tomorrow on the show because it's moving already. Incredible. All right.
On CNBC, baby.
Make sure you find our website, themontyshow.com. Take you right to our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe. Appreciate you on that. This is our last week on Periscope. And in the end, until tomorrow, say screw the shorts, Jake.
Screw the shorts.